What's up guys, Jerome here from the Bonsai Supply, and today we're going to give my beloved elm a little bit of a restyling. So let me explain what happened. So on the first look of this tree, it looks like it has always done, right? It has a full canopy, it looks beautiful, green and healthy. However, if you turn it around, it doesn't look so happy anymore. So what happened here? So all of these branches here, there's about 5 or 6 branches that have died off, including the top has died off as well. Now let me explain you what happened here. So we moved from Florida to Georgia in 2020, which was last year, and I had to repot this tree last year earlier than usual because I was displaying this tree in Disney World in Orlando at the Epcot Center, where the tree was displayed for about, it was supposed to be displayed for 4 months, but it got cut short because of COVID, so it was only displayed for 2 months. So it went from being repotted early in South Florida, where it's really, really warm, 3 hours north, that's driving distance, to Orlando, where it wasn't as hot, and it was a little colder. It's not a big deal. Different climate, however. It was there for 2 months, and then when I picked it up, after the 2 months were up because of COVID, I drove down to Orlando to pick up my tree, and it was very, very weak. This is all growth of maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe something like that. And it was in Orlando for 2 full months, and it had not grown nearly as much. It was barely leafed out, so it didn't fully push out until I brought it all the way up to Georgia. And even here in Georgia, it needed up until an extra 2 months to fully flush out. So it was a little weakened by the trip that happened. I'm not blaming anybody except for me. There was no chance for me to bring it back to Florida after Orlando, so I had to bring it up here to Georgia. And the tree was weaker. It had to go through, a mild winter, but this tree has never seen a mild winter because it was grown all the way in South Florida. So therefore, we had a few branches that died back. And this is what happens when you do bonsai. It's a living art form. It's not that big of a deal, but it happens, and it does kind of suck. So now, even though the tree was weaker last year, and we did lose, half of the top and some branches in the back, as you can see in the front, we still have a lot of the branches intact, and I'm really grateful for that because this is what you're gonna see. The rest I can work on for the next couple of years and kind of hide it, so that's not a bad thing. As you can see, the tree is extremely vigorous this year, so it definitely has recovered from wherever it was weak. And this is what happens when you move or when you display trees in different states. You have to be extremely careful. Under my circumstances, I couldn't have done it any other way, and so this is the backlash. And so today we're going to fix it. Right now, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of this greenery that you see here, and I'm going to cut it way back. And actually, I already cut this tree back about 2 weeks ago because it was out to here, and I chopped it back because I wanted to redistribute the energy from here up into there and into the areas that had dead branches. Now I could have cut off the branches a little earlier, but I wanted to let the tree fully push out to see if I get some growth anywhere else in the tree, because up here, this section here started to grow way later than the rest. So if I would have cut this tree off earlier, I would have cut off this entire top. And since I waited, I have a lot of branches, and I still have my taper in there. So now the first step that we're going to do is just cut everything way back. And while I do that, I wanted to show you a little clip of what this tree looked like before this and what it's going to look like after, so that you can have a nice comparison and see the story of my beloved American elm tree. And let's get to work. So this is about good. I removed all the growth that was hanging underneath the branches. On the deciduous trees, when they push out in the spring, they, especially American elms, they push into every direction, and so therefore when we do our trim, we want to remove all the foliage that's hanging underneath the pad where the sun doesn't get to anyways, and we don't want to have ramification underneath of the pad. We want to have it up here, right? And so now what we're going to do, the reason why we cut it back is not just to redistribute the energy, but it's also that when we take a look at this first dead branch down here, that we can take a look and make sure that we don't remove anything that we are not supposed to. So I'm going to bring you in a little closer and show you this branch up close. Alright, so as you can see, this is the back branch of the front. So the opposite here is the front, this is the back of the tree. And this entire branch, it seemed like it died off, but I have one green branch that came out here, and I have some more green branches that came out here. I also have some green that came out here, and that's the reason why I didn't cut anything before I let the tree push out completely, because otherwise I wouldn't have had this, and I would have lost this entire piece here. And so today, all I have to do is just cut back to here, use my saw. There you go. Epa. Alright, so now this branch here is going to be allowed to grow up until it starts to harden, and then I'm going to take it down and then bend it into position somewhere in here. So now if we look at this back branch here, so some more branches have sprouted from here, which these sprouted before this one did. And so I thought I was going to need these branches to replace this branch, but however, since this one sprouted, I can remove these two branches because the branch next to it is dead as well. However, if you look at it in here, so you see how this branch is dead, and then this one is also dead, or so I thought, until this one started sprouting. So once again, I can remove this one, and I can remove it here and replace these two branches with this one from here. Here we have this area out of this one singular branch here that has still survived. Well, we have a ton of branches that are pushing out, and so we don't want to keep all of these branches because we want to redirect the energy into just one branch. And so therefore I'm going to remove all of these branches here and just focus on one branch, which is going to be this branch here. All right, so I'm going to let this branch once again shoot out just like this one and just like this one down here. Once they harden, put them into position. Alright, so as you can see, I've gotten pretty lucky that I've had branches regrow from all the branches that I cut off. So which means that I can pretty much restore the entire setting up here like it was before. The only thing I have to remove now would be the top. And I have a branch here, this one. That one is going to be my leader, so meaning my new top. right, so obviously this could have been a lot better, but at the same time this could have also been a lot worse. So the entire front is still intact, which is good. I didn't have to do any major cuts, any major scars, which is also good because this tree is such an elegant tree and it doesn't really have any scars. So that's kind of a blessing in itself that I didn't have to make very large cuts. Um, this tree, I was contemplating of, making a lot of dead wood in here with all of these branches, but this is just not the tree for that style. And you just have to know when it is and when it isn't, and when does the dead wood add and when does it take away from the whole design. So here, since deadwood on deciduous trees doesn't last long anyways, especially if it's man-made, I thought I'd just shy away from that and have it look like plucked chicken for a couple of years, but then I'm back on schedule with this tree. So the good thing is that I didn't have to make any large cuts in here, and the tree all the way up here is still alive, so that's really good. And like I said, I have the branches coming out of all of the branches that I cut off, so the tree is not going to get restyled that much, and good thing is that it is only in the back. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to let all of these branches freely grow, thicken up, gain some strength, gain some vigor, and then in July, in the middle of July, when all the deciduous trees go into their dormant period, so for about 30 days, and this might be a little bit different depending on where you live, but here in Georgia, it is in the middle of July, where all the deciduous trees go dormant, so they go to sleep for about 2 weeks to 30 days, and that's when I'm going to come in here, remove all of the leaves, defoliate the tree completely, and then I'm going to take these new branches, which by then they're going to be out, by the fence. Then I can actually wire the branches and put them into position and cut these branches back a little bit more as well, and just kind of even it out a little more too. So I would say, all in all, well, it took me about 10 years to get it to this stage. I would say it's going to take me, I would say, about 3 to 5 years to where I was. The good thing that I have going here for me is that this is an extremely fast growing tree. If this was anything else, it would hurt me much more than this does. I mean, it still hurts a lot because I lost half the tree. But since this tree is so vigorous, I mean, this branch here is brand new growth from about a week and a half, and it has grown a foot and a half, and it hasn't even hardened off yet, and it's still pushing really vigorously. So, and now that I thinned up the area, this is going to grow even faster. So I'm not that concerned. We can definitely rescue this tree. Now, the one thing that's really important though is to make sure that the tree doesn't get away from me completely, meaning that these branches down here, I'm going to keep them nicely trimmed, and I'm going to keep them back where I let the rest grow up, so I can send more energy to the other remaining areas. Now, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope that you learned what not to do and what to do when you did what you shouldn't have done. That makes sense. So it was an unfortunate mishap. It happened. It happens to all of us, no matter how long you are in bonsai. Trees die for a number of reasons. This tree just got weak. Now it's strong again. We're back on track, so it's good. Please let me know if you have any questions. Comment below. Let me know what you guys think, and I will catch you guys next time.